Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video I'm going to be doing a gold mythic trader guide. This is because I have had this actually requested, and the trader himself is the king, the literal king of control. Really good character for sure. I'm not going to be going over too much technically on how this character works. If you want to check that out, I have done a previous video with this character quite a long time ago. You can go check out that video, but this is just going to be going over what I think you should equip with this guy with when it comes to the mods, when it comes to the weapons, and also what skills are the most important when it comes to the upgrades, and which ones you want to actually prioritize and get leveled up nice and quick. So first of all, with his actual kit, his rush, very nice, does some control, does a bit of damage. His signature, very nice, does some control with the confused, but his passives are where you get to obviously determine where you're going to spend those resources. And I would say pretty much everything here is worth upgrading. I've fully maxed mine out, but the precision obviously is very important because he's a control character. Allows him to land the controls far more often. Resist and not going to be as actually happen as often against this character. The next one, private healthcare, is nice. Infection resistance at the beginning of the turn. This does obviously last for 2 turns as well, which can combat some characters like Eris and characters that have signature moves and stuff that actually do have infections. Also, if you do take down characters very early on in the fight, like Mr. Lou, he also does do infection when he's taken down, so it can combat that to a certain extent. The next one is Stunning Capital. This is the only one which is like 50-50. You could determine that this is actually not a good idea to upgrade because certain characters, when they get stunned, if they have a certain mod on them, which is defense when stunned, it actually makes them harder to take out. However, with the emergence of some characters more recently that get bonus damage against stun characters, it's generally a good idea to upgrade this, in my opinion. A lot of the time this can land on characters like Vance, making it a free takedown, meaning he's not going to be able to actually do anything when he's in Outlast, which is nice. And lastly, this is the big one, passive income. Whenever an enemy dies with a debilitating status, this character gets 100% AP. This is what makes the trader such an amazing character. Not just because he gets the 100% AP, obviously, which is nice. He's going to be able to do that line in pair, obviously get off some control there. But when he does his rush, another character from NWO is going to get their rush as well. So that, the roll-on effect from someone getting taken out is extremely nice. You can team him up with Titan to an extremely high level. People still use that combo even today. Now, when it comes to the trader's mods, I would say you kind of want to not make him do too much damage, just so you can do his rush and so on and so forth in basic attacks against characters that have things like Vengeance or, reflect mods and stuff like that. He's mainly a control character, but he can do significant damage if you so wish. You can get him fully offensively, but we're going to build a more, passive build where it's just going to be quite defensive, just keeping him alive and also making it so that he can do his rush against characters, like I say, who have Vengeance. So first up, we're going to use the HP set, as you can see. And in the top left-hand corner, we're going to go with probably the most basic mod, which is going to be Defense on HP. Now, what this is going to do is just going to give him a bit of both stats. Nothing too crazy, just to increase that defense and increase the HP from the set. If you want to go with HP on HP or Defense on Defense, it's really up to you. It's based on the mods you have available. I basically am going with HP set because of the other mods that I'm going to be putting on him. I've got some other good mods in the top right hand corner, bottom right, bottom left, so on and so forth. Now in the top right hand corner, if you want to do damage, obviously the attack versus is good. You could do attack versus alert to try and just amplify the damage he's going to do even further. He is a control character. He's not going to do crazy damage, but that obviously would help. But I'm going to actually do defense versus fast. And this is, again, like I say, it's not because I don't want him to do damage, it's because I'm going to have other damage dealers on the team. So we're going to do defense versus fast. Keep him, surviving for longer, but also it's mainly just so he doesn't wreck too hard against certain characters. But if you did like attack versus alert, it wouldn't be a problem when it came up against Vengeance characters because there's no alert Vengeance right now. So you'd be able to kind of like circumvent that in the meantime. Now in the bottom right hand corner, there's a couple of options, and I'd say one of the options you've got is going to be exhaust resist, and this is because there are a couple of characters out there with exhaust right now. He's a heavy AP character. If he gains 100% of his AP when he's got exhaust, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. The exhaust numbers out there are high enough that he's going to get one shot regardless of how you build him, because he is still more of an offensive character. There's obviously not going to be any HP leaders because he's the leader. Jeremiah, for instance, targets tough characters. You could try and bypass that if you wanted to use Trader against a lot of teams. I have noticed that my Trader does kind of like blow up every now and again because of Jeremiah, and that's just kind of one of the issues. Whether you want to build a certain team when you see Jeremiah in the defense team or not is up to you. Now, you could also run Taunt Resist. This is obviously very good indeed because there's a lot of taunt around on defense teams. But it is worth noting that if you do have him teamed up with Titan, Titan does give out the focus to NWO characters, so you would be obviously bypassing that with that focus, so you could potentially just see the focus is the best way to go when it comes to trying to bypass Taunt and Confuse. So the other main debilitating resist is going to be Stun Resist. I will say there is another resist which we'll talk about in a little bit later because we'll talk about it in the wildcard slot, but I don't think it's a priority. But Stun Resist obviously is a good option, especially if you're going to be doing, basic attacks because of the type of weapon you're going to have in his hands, which again we'll look at in a moment. So I'm pretty happy with how things stand here. I think this is pretty much the easy, sweet 3 spot on the initial mods. And the last one on the 4 main mods is going to be AP Drain. We're just going to keep up that control. AP Drain is nice. It's going to work on his basic attacks. He isn't going to basic attack too often, but there's not too much else you can actually do on him. If you did want to make him more offensive, you could go for something like Burn or something like that. Again, he's not going to basic attack too often, so there's not much to utilize when it comes to the bottom left-hand corner here, unfortunately. But if you do a basic attack, which I do, from time to time, based on the fact that I've got a impair on attack weapon in his hands to try and impair somebody, it obviously can do AP Drain as well. So if they have AP Drain resistances in any way, well, he's going to bypass that to a certain extent because he is a control character with that precision. Now, the final spot is obviously the wildcard spot, and you can put whatever you want in his hands here. Now, the extra resist I was talking about earlier on is going to actually be Daze Resist. You can potentially do that because there are characters that have Daze. For instance, we have got Alpha as a leader, and his signature move is very powerful. You Confused to the end of the battle is mad, and if you come up against Alpha, you can't use that until turn 3. So, obviously getting it off nice and early in the fight can be very, very advantageous. So, trying to get that out as early as possible, very nice indeed. Or you could go with HP on HP or HP on defense, whatever you didn't use in the top left-hand corner, or defense on defense. Just basically trying to improve his defensive stats. It's completely up to you here. There isn't too much you can do that's gonna, in terms of the build, when it comes to making more of a passive character, not doing too much damage. But if you wanted to make him do more damage, you could do it with another attack versus if you really wanted to. But I think going with another resist is probably the safest way to go. So there we have it. I'm going to put Daze Resist in the last slot, and I'm going to just lock in these mods. And if we look at the stats at the end, you can see I have got 29,500 defense and 29,700 HP. This is just boosting, obviously, the defensive stats up. Survivability is going to be increased, but the attack is not going to be as heavily increased. It's going to be increased no matter what because of his leader skill and most likely the weapon. But we don't want to make these too high if we can help it. Now, when it comes to the weapon, Trader's base weapon is very nice. You only have to increase this 3 times and making it a 50% attack weapon. This is absolutely fine. If you wanted to use this weapon, I used this weapon for quite a long time. But there is an improved, weapon that you can use basically out there. You can use Impair on attack, and there is a one that we got in recent months where it was part of, I believe, the Outlanders event that was actually pretty good, and it was Mateo's shotgun. And here is that weapon. You're still going to have that 1535 for the teammates, which is nice. But you're getting that 3rd slot, which is the 60% chance that an enemy gets Impair for 3 turns. They also get the minus 20 AP. So even if they resist the Impair, they could still get, AP Drain. So he's going to be just adding more chances of control. This is only going to work on his basic attacks. But if, for instance, you didn't have that rush up and you still wanted to try and control a character like Eris or someone like this, where you put them in, make them impaired, they can't gain AP, which is obviously nice when it comes to the Outlast situation and her cleanse. So this is a very nice weapon indeed. There is a lesser version of this weapon out there, the one you can craft in the armory. Obviously, it's not as good. It's 35%. If you have this weapon, you're going to be pretty happy. And like I say, it works great in the Trader's hands. You could even potentially swap out the attack for HP in the 1st slot if you so wished, as it is more of a support weapon. Obviously, that part's up to you. I left it with attack. His attack's still going to get pretty high, But you know, we did as best we could in terms of not enhancing it too much on those mods. So here is Trader in the team as a leader with primary usage. You don't have to use him as a leader. He's still a very good support character, even if you don't have him as a leader. But as a leader, obviously, he's going to be giving nice boosts when it comes to the attack if you don't have someone else who can do it instead. But when you come to the weapon, we have got the Mateo weapon. Now, it is worth noting that the 4 slots, obviously, at least 2, maybe 3 to 4 of these are going to have 50 and 35 weapons. So that attack will get boosted a little bit more. And obviously, will amplify the amount of damage he's going to be doing. There's not much you can do when it comes to this when he's the leader. But you can probably bring that attack damage way down if he's not the leader. But like I say, leader slot is probably the best idea. Now, I've just put together some a bit more accessible characters when it comes to the team I'm going to put him in. And most importantly, I have got another NWO character in the team with him, and that's very important. And I think the best NWO character to team up with him, obviously, is going to be Titan. Titan has great control on his signature move, and his rush still does very, very nice damage indeed. If you have control characters in one or all of your other 3 slots, you've got more chance of debilitating status effects being on the enemy team. So obviously more chance that when they're taken out, Trader's going to get his 100% AP from his passive and then can pass on the 100% AP to Titan. So basically very nice like combo when it comes to teaming up Titan and Trader together. So as we start the fight, we'll see that we didn't actually stun a character on a defense team with the Trader's passive, but because we've got Ronaldo in the team, someone has actually got Taunt on the defense team, which is obviously very nice. We can obviously lay down some extra control with William, and that's where William's signature move can be nice. The Daze, he's also got a stun weapon, so we've got a lot of characters controlled here. This means that any takedowns in this situation would result in, you know, AP gain for my team, which is going to be obviously very nice indeed. We don't get any takedowns early on because our main damage dealer, which is going to be Titan, did actually get controlled by Laupo off of turn 1, which is obviously great. Now you can see that my Trader actually got confused here, but because of that team up with Titan, he's going to get the focus, and it's not going to be a problem at all. And then we can just, you know, continue with the rampage of the damage. We take out someone who had some control. We get the boost on his rush because of the AP gain when the debilitating status effect. We can use his rush, and then you can see the kind of like cascade of AP gain. It can be extremely nice. It can be extremely nice indeed. Yeah, hit a pain split character again, nice as well. So very nice like team up with NWO characters, but team up with characters with control as well is really nice, because look, we took out another character who had a debilitating status effect. We got the rush again, so now we can use it again, and then we can use the Titan rush again, and then we can try and take out another character. We're just gonna get the rush again for the next turn. So the turnaround is really good if you team him up with the right characters, just in terms of getting Trader to pop his rush almost every turn. Okay, so here's another great usage for Trader. As you can see, we're up against a character that is very problematic for a lot of people, Vance. He can obviously impair Vance, and if you take out Vance in it while he's impaired, he's not going to be able to do his adrenaline rush. It's going to be very nice. We can take him out. He's going to get decapped in this situation, and normally, obviously, he'd go into Outlast. He'd do his adrenaline rush, whether he's going to be decapped or not. But this is what is great about the Trader. But what's even better is, if I, for whatever reason, didn't have my rush before, I could now rush the character behind Vance and still impair Vance in front while he's in Outlast. And this can work with Eris as well, who's already in Outlast and obviously has, you know, cleansed everything, got her AP ready to rush. You can then impair her after, you know, she's already been taken out. So that's it for just a little starter guide for Gold Mythic Trader, just to, you know, starter points on how to get the best out of the Trader. Tell me if you're doing anything slightly differently for this character. This was a request, so if you have any requests yourself, please put them in the comments down below, guys. I want to thank you very much for tuning into this video, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.